finding
Internet that's everything you imagine, and then some. Quantum Fiber, your world unleashed. Sign up today and get internet with a price for life. Keep your internet service monthly rate for as long as you keep your plan. Internet service monthly rate subject to continued plan availability.
quite well, and Brian Flores' defense is supposed to be pretty good, and they just let them go right down the field on the opening drive of the game. I mean, it couldn't have looked any easier, and so that puts them in a hole right away. And so it was a call. It was definitely a team effort when it comes to losing the game. So they were only supposed to win 6-7 games this year. I guess you look at it that way and go, okay, they got $80 million to spend in the cap next year. They got J.J. McCarthy obviously coming back, potentially there should be the starter. If they can keep it Daniel Jones or someone else, who knows what that's going to look like. But they got a lot of money to spend, and they got some work to do because they were exposed tremendously by two really good teams the last 2 weeks with Detroit and tonight the LA Rams.
All right, Rosie, good stuff as always, buddy. It was a great season working with you, man.
Always a pleasure, Muss, that's for sure.
All right, thanks, Rosie. That's a Hall of Famer, Mark Rosen right there. Post-game player interviews, by the way, are brought to you by Wildfire, located at Eden Prairie Center. Visit wildfirerestaurant.com. 27-9, the Rams beat your Minnesota Vikings. They did it in Arizona. And Mystic Lake, the official playoff partner of the Minnesota Vikings, is bringing the action. You can score instant prizes, a Polaris, UTV, Vikings season tickets, autographed merch, and so much more in the playoffs prize zone. Visit mysticlake.com/playoffs for all the details. We'll get to the locker room with some interviews. We'll have KOC going to the podium. And yeah, we have Vikings Fanline coming up here, 800-320-5326. People already calling in for that after a 27-9 loss. Vikings lose to the Rams. This is Vikings football.
Roy joined LiUNA in 2017.
Joining a labor's union has meant a lot to me. I earn great wages, which is helping me afford the basics, like gas, groceries, and a living space. And it also provides me with a great healthcare plan. In addition, LiUNA offers free training through the Labor's Apprenticeship Training Program. The training is preparing me with many skills to have a lifelong successful career in the construction industry. If I can do it, you can too.
For career opportunities, visit buildthenorth.com.
Hey, Vikings fans, Ben Lieber here. I'm so excited to be a new lifetime member. It's spacious. They got all the free weights and machines I'm looking for. Also, they have recovery devices when you're done. Compression boots, hot and cold tub, even assisted dynamic stretching. I gotta love that for a guy in his mid-40s. Speaking of, I love this place for my kids. Not only do they have 300 classes a week for adults and kids, they also have active sports like tennis and pickleball, basketball, and of course, you gotta love the yummy cafe. Check them out at lifetime.life to find a club nearest you.
Hey, Vikings fans, listen up. Step up your shoe game this season with Trade Home Shoes, your Minnesota-based employee-owned retailer. Trade Home Shoes has on-trend footwear for the entire family. Brands like New Balance, Hoka, On, Birkenstock, Rival Shoes, and more. With over a century of experience in 130 locations nationwide, Trade Home Shoes is where generations meet comfort and style. Trade Home Shoes. Enjoy life. Feet first.
Well, tonight was huge, so first and foremost, I got to thank my FVP, my car battery for this victory. Without it, I'd still be in my garage. My FVP battery came to play. It always gives 110%, leaves everything on the pavement, and I am so proud of how my FVP hung in today. It overcame high and low temps all season long. It brought the heat tonight. It's not really about whether you win or lose, okay? It's about what battery you put under the hood. FVP kind of sounds like MVP. That's no coincidence. Automotive batteries from FVP. Reach for what works. Visit FVPparts.com.
Post-game coverage and reactions continue now with Mike Mussman on FM 100.3 KFAN, The Fan.
By 7. C.J. Ham in the backfield with Sam Darnold to his left. Darnold out of the shotgun. Darnold back to pass. Sacked 3 times. Dropped the ball. It's a strip sack for the Rams. And it's picked up by Jared Verse. And here comes the rookie. Inside the 30 to the 20 to the 10. Touchdown, L.A. Rams. Jared Verse with his first National Football League touchdown with 4.5 minutes to go in the first half, has propelled the LA Rams to a 16-3 lead.
Paul Allen on the call. That was tonight's unfortunate play of the game presented by your local Northland Ford dealers. Verse goes 57 yards, gets his first NFL touchdown in the loss for our Minnesota Vikings, 27-9. And here are the stats from tonight's game presented by Lumen. For your Minnesota Vikings, Sam Darnold was 25 of 40, 245 yards, a touchdown, and interception. That's a passer rating of 77.6. Aaron Jones on the ground. He had 13 carries, 48 going 3.7 per carry there with a long of 13. Hawkinson, 5 receptions, 64 yards, and his first and only touchdown of the season. He got a touchdown and a long of 26. Meanwhile, Matthew Stafford, he went 19 of 27, 209, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. That's a passer rating of 117.7. Williams on the ground, 16 carries, 76 yards. Going as 4.8 per carry there. And Higbee had 5 receptions for 58 yards, 0 touchdowns, leading the way for the Rams in that win, which, by the way, time of possession actually went in favor of the Vikings, 32-18 to 27-42. And also with the total net yards, the Vikings had 269 to the Rams 292. And those are your stats presented by Lumen, trusted technology partner of the Minnesota Vikings. Sam Darnold was sacked 9 times, and it shouldn't have been 9 times. Just throw the ball, for crying out loud. It was just a depressing and just really what a sad way to end the season. 14-win team, and you lose 27-9 to the Rams. Hey, Vikings fans, get ready to kick off like the broadcast team with a pothole pizza, only from Quick Trip, Meat Sweats, Vikings Pepper Alley, and, of course, Sausage Palooza. Grab a slice wherever you watch or listen to the game, and available now at U.S. Bank Stadium. Again, Vikings lose 27-9. Vikings fan line's going to be hot tonight. 800-320-532-26. That is, those are the numbers. You can also use the talkback on the iHeartRadio app, which is free. Make sure you download that if you haven't already done it. And you can also text 64686. Nordo and Ron Johnson coming up here in just another segment to talk about this loss on the Minnesota Vikings Radio Network, driven by Polaris.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
From Medical Solutions getting Vikings players off the sideline and back into the game, we're here. To 3M Technology in the stadium roof helping fans stay warm even in inclement weather, we're here. To the 3M Sensory Room helping fans with sensory needs be part of the game day experience, we're here. To our hearing protection helping fans stay safe while being loud, we're here. From the field to the roof and everywhere in between, 3M Science is here. Visit Vikings.com/Skull Science to see all the ways 3M Science is helping our hometown team. 3M is proud to be the official science sponsor of the Minnesota Vikings.
Johnny Pop. Boom, 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 boom. Nobody understands cold better than us. That's why the best frozen treats are made right here in Minnesota. Johnny Pops makes frozen pops locally with simple ingredients and a kind beat printed on every stick. With over 20 flavors, there's a flavor that everyone in your family will love. Find them at your favorite Minnesota stores and nationwide and enjoy a better pop for a better world. Johnny, Johnny, Johnny Pop.
Hey, Vikings fans, when you stay at Omni Viking Lakes, you stay at the official hotel of your favorite team. At Omni, we believe experiences matter, which is why we built this place for real fans like yourself, even putting it right next to the practice facility. You've dreamt of a place like this, and now you can dream in a place like this. Score! So, Vikings fans, when you're looking for a place to stay in the game at Omni Viking Lakes Hotel.
Vikings talk continues all day tomorrow, beginning with the Power Trip, then PA, Common, and Dan Barrero. All live tomorrow on iHeartRadio and FM 100.3 KFAN, The Fan.
So it's first and goal for the LA Rams from the 5-yard line of the Minnesota Vikings. Matthew Stafford under center. 2 tight ends to the right. Play action to Kyren Williams. He boots out to the left, throws over the middle. They lost Kyren. Wide open. Touchdown, Los Angeles Rams. It was a 5-yard touchdown where Stafford went play action to Williams. He spun around to the left, and Kyren leaped into the center of the end zone. He was wide open, 6-0 Rams.
Paul Allen with the call. Vikings lose to the Rams tonight. Hey, you already know that Buffalo Wild Wings has you covered all football season, but did you know you could get free wings? 6 free wings when you watch the Vikings play. Score 6 free boneless or traditional wings when the Vikings get 2 sacks only at Buffalo Wild Wings, and that's exactly what they got, 2 sacks. Cashman got 1, and then also you got Van Ginkel with another, bringing down Matt Stafford in that 27-9 loss to the Rams. Nordo joining me now.
Hi.
Oh, boy. What an absolute collapse of an offense in the last couple of games for your Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, it's brutal. Just 1 touchdown, right? Total of 18 points in 2 games. You're a top 10 scoring offense. What was on the line, and we covered it in great detail a week ago. What was at stake in Detroit? And then, of course, this is an absolute must-win game.
Yep.
And you absolutely just trip over yourself. You flop on your face. You get sacked 9 times, which I believe ties an NFL record in the postseason. And this is a defense that had created turnovers in every single game. That streak comes to an end in a playoff game. And just utter failure and incompetence really at every level. The offensive line, certainly some inadequacies there. But what you saw from the quarterback, I mean, this is the turning back into a pumpkin moment for Mr. Darnold. So
didn't look lost.
Yeah, and so I shouldn't say I'm excited for Fanline. It's going to be a lot of frustrated people, including myself, as a 40-year-old man-child of sorts and a fan of the team. But yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing the talkbacks and the texts and just kind of breaking this thing down. It was nothing but ugliness. Welcome to the club, Kevin O'Connell. Just long line of Vikings coaches that have just that nasty playoff loss under their belt. So you know what? Let's you know what we should do. Let's just get a call going right off the bat here before Fanline begins. Let's do. How about, is it Mike and Osseo? Mike and Osseo, let's do a little Fanline preview. What's up, Mike?
Hey, guys. How you doing tonight? A little rough.
Very rough, yeah.
Hey, I just have kind of basically one point I was kind of bringing up while I was on hold there. About Sam, do you think O'Connell, just as a fan watching, just skill set, Troy Aikman mentioned this, tonight and even last week, whoever was the announcers last week, Sammy is just dancing around like he's doing a 2-step, and his feet were so bad. Do you know, is that something you think the coach knows? And if so, where were the screen passes to not allow the sacking so he didn't hold the ball? Like, the game plan from the start was weird tonight. And I just wondering, as a fan going forward, is O'Connell, unless we get a excellent IQ quarterback, maybe JJ's that? But I got friends texting me in Arizona who lived on or watching. They're like, what are we watching? I'm like, I don't know, guys. I do not know.
It was definitely ugly. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate that. What are your thoughts there, Nordo, about what Mike's saying about this team and then the quarterback?
Well, I think, and we'll continue to talk about this, not just during the truncated fan line, but into 9 to noon tomorrow and beyond. Of course, the Power Trip live right off the bat at 5:30, and based on the text messages I'm getting from Saucer, he's going to be ready to fire at 5:31 a.m. tomorrow. I think that we have a head coach who got the very most that he could out of a guy that really, his career was in his hands in some respects, a guy that was experiencing the problems and had to jump around to a few different franchises the way that Sam Darnold did. The feet were awful. The decision-making was awful. Everything, and that's the inexplicable part about it, is it wasn't that Sam Darnold needed to be perfect tonight or even last week against Detroit. Just take advantage of the opportunities right in front of him. You're watching easy throws. He's throwing behind receivers. He's still doing the sailing bit. On half of his sacks, again, noting some inadequacies from the offensive line, Sam Darnold, I mean, just, I saw people doing it. It's, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. He's holding onto the ball for 4, 5, 6, 7 seconds. And you saw even late, once the game was already out of hand, he did have that 17-yard run that it was a very light contact, but I think it was Kinchins who put a helmet on him, and the extra 15 on top of that. That was, we needed those scrambling moments earlier in the game. We needed quicker out. It's, whatever the overthinking or the overanalyzing process that was taking place, it was ugly, man. So, there's some certain things, not running the ball earlier in this game. Once again, there's some things that, and he mentioned it, not necessarily screen passes, but, for instance, the 4th and 2 where he takes that sack. Do we have some gotta have it plays? Do we have some simple stuff and to get the ball out of Sam's hands more quickly, take some of the pressure off him with more rushing attempts earlier? The coach will, and hopefully we get to hear his press conference soon. He's got to answer some of those questions, but my God, I mean, Darnold absolutely just fell on his face tonight, last 2 weeks really, and it's sad to see.
Yeah, Darnold went from a guy who looked like he had nothing to lose and was playing like that to all of a sudden he was just doing nothing but losing there. Thank you, Nordo. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
We'll be getting those calls coming in here, 800-320-5326. You can use the talkback as well, or you can text 646-86, and that post-game KOC will be driven by Polaris. Polaris, think outside. There's a new way to stream your Vikings coverage shows and Inside Right on your big screen TV. It's Fox Local, a free streaming app. Search Fox Local on your streaming device, install, and then stay connected with your Minnesota Vikings and local news with Fox Local. The Vikings end up losing 27-9 tonight. The Vikings fans, also, I should let you know, McDonald's is teaming up with the Vikings to bring you the tastiest season ever. Get a free Big Mac each time that the Vikings score 2 touchdowns. It didn't happen. And a $2 minimum purchase required. Taste the victory. Again, 800-320-5326. Use that talkback or 64686. You can text Ron and also Nordo. Ron Johnson and Nordo coming in here next. Vikings fan line after a 27-9 loss in the playoffs on the Minnesota Vikings radio network, driven by Polaris.
TimberTech and TimberTech.com not only are the best in the business, but the decks they develop and the decks they build are the highest of quality. In fact, you will endure a lifetime of happiness with that deck with TimberTech. So ask for TimberTech when putting together your next project, and that also can include porches. TimberTech.com is where you find the free samples. Once again, start at TimberTech.com.
You're listening to Vikings football. Are you ready for some football? Well, you are now, thanks to Ticketmaster. As the official ticket marketplace of the Minnesota Vikings and the NFL, Ticketmaster's got the best way to take it to the house when it comes to being there live. They're the safest and most convenient marketplace to score fully verified Vikings tickets. And even if your plans get broken up or worse, turned over, Ticketmaster gives you more flexibility to sell your seats. So get those touchdown celebrations ready and score your tickets today at Ticketmaster.com/Vikings.
Are you a building owner or manager looking for a top-notch commercial property maintenance provider? Look no further than Curbside Landscape and Irrigation. Established in 1998, we service some of the most prominent commercial properties in the Twin Cities, including the campus at Viking Lakes. From snow removal to landscaping and so much more, we've got you covered. Need our services or looking for a career in this industry? Contact us today at www.curbsidelandscape.com.
During football season, we all make rookie mistakes, like that time you accidentally spiked your TV remote to celebrate a touchdown. Maybe you should have had a Snickers, because now you can enter for a chance to turn those rookie mistakes into prizes, including a grand prize trip to Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans and awesome weekly prizes. Visit Snickers.com/rookie mistake for rules and details. And grab a Snickers, the official chocolate sponsor of the NFL.
Your home for all things purple.
Caught! Yes!
FM 100.3 KFAN, The Fan.
Time now for Vikings Fanline on the Minnesota Vikings Radio Network. Your chance to talk about today's game with the Vikings broadcast team. Join the conversation on Vikings Fanline by texting the studio at 64686, calling 800-320-5326, using the talkback feature on the free iHeartRadio app, or by sending us a message on the KFAN social channels. Now it's your reaction to all the action. This is Vikings Fanline with Ron Johnson and KFAN's Eric Nordquist.
Welcome to Minnesota Vikings Fanline. It shall be the final Fanline of the 2024 season. I'm Eric Nordquist, Nordo from 9 to noon. Ron Johnson is with me. How you doing, Ron?
I'm good. You know, it is what it is.
You're looking good. People can watch you on camera, so that's kind of cool. That's a nice treat, a playoff treat, if you will. And that's all you're going to get, Vikings fans, because the season is over. The team gave its second consecutive brutal, pitiful, awful, unacceptable, and inexplicable performance 2 weeks in a row. Last week in Detroit and tonight in Arizona to take on the Rams, 27-9 the final. And it's Matt Stafford, it's Mr. McVay's bunch that are heading to Philly for the divisional round. And the Vikings will be back here cleaning out lockers, licking wounds, and getting their off seasons started. Fanline, phone calls, of course. Those of you on hold, we appreciate it. Chill out. We'll get to you. 800-320-5326. Text message machine, 64686 is the text number. And then, of course, if you're using the free iHeartRadio app to tune in, you just hit that little microphone on the page, and you can record up to your best 30 seconds. And I will look at them, and we will play as many as we can. Truncated fan line tonight because of the late hour. But, of course, starting live, as I mentioned last segment during the postgame with Muss, 5:30 to 9, the Power Trip morning shows all over this. And then it's Brian McKnight's One Last Cry to kick off 9 to noon tomorrow. PA will be here, at least for the first hour, I believe. And we're going to break this thing down and put an end to the 2024. It was ugly, wasn't it, Ron?
Yeah, it was extremely ugly. And it happened early. And I said this last week. You're like, what do we need to do? And I was like, got to be quick game. How do they get away from some of this rush? Quick game. You slow down that blitz, and they never did it.
The phone calls. Let's go to how about Josh in Seattle? Josh, welcome to Vikings Fan Line.
What's up? Thanks, Nordo, for taking my call.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ben, for you guys staying up late. I know you guys got families, so thanks for staying up late and listening to some ranting. I think I keep reminding myself that this season wasn't supposed to happen. We're supposed to be a 5-win team. I just think it sucks because we have all this talent, and we can't do anything with it. And now we're looking at potentially a down year next year because you'll have JJ, and I don't know how fast he can get caught up to speed. So it's just frustrating because I don't think you can bring Sam back because, my God, this O-line needs to be fixed.
Well, I appreciate you staying up. I'm sorry that your team let you down, let all of us down, to be frank. And I appreciate you tuning in and calling in. Ron, I'm caught in this balancing act here where I want to rip the interior of the O-line.
Yeah.
I mean, I just want to get loose on it. I'm just so frustrated with some of the things that I've seen in recent weeks.
Yeah.
However, I could use a freaking hourglass, and I might run out of sand before Sam gets rid of the ball on probably 6 of the 9 sacks.
Yep.
So who am I more frustrated with on a Monday night now that my team's been eliminated from the playoffs?
Yeah, I'd say both. Like, there are times, like they showed a couple where so-and-so is open. So I know the one was the deep over by Jalen Naylor. But if you watch when he's supposed to throw, he can't throw. There's somebody in his lap, and he's trying to, move. Once he moves, he feels like it's too late. I think he was gun-shy after he did that the last time he threw the interception. He wanted to go left. He came back right late, and he threw it. I mean, you can't throw it inside, if that, too. He kind of threw it to the inside of the receiver running an out route. Interception. So after that, every time he went to that second or third read, he never wanted to throw it if he felt like he was off of his spot. And he just doesn't move well in the pocket. Like, or at least tonight. During the season, he was a masterful quarterback when it came to moving his feet, buying time, climbing the pocket. We were talking about KOC and how well he did for him. And that's what I want people to remember. We still have to remember, this dude won 14 games.
Yeah.
Tonight, and he lost to 2 teams this season, the Rams and the Lions, twice. That's it. There's only 2 teams in the NFL that had his number. One, Sean McVay, because he knows Kevin O'Connell's offense, and the Lions, because they're just bulldogs, and they beat you up. And if you think about the way Sam Darnold played, I question some of the throws, too, like the one he threw behind Jalen Naylor. Like, was Jalen Naylor supposed to slow down? Because it was zone. You saw both linebackers spray. So that means find a zone hole for me. I'm going to hit you in a zone hole. But then also say, Sam, drive it to him. Like, drive it on his chest so he slows down. Don't throw it behind him. So it comes down to him just not having it tonight. And we have to be honest with that. But you can be frustrated with both. Like, he should have got rid of the ball. And even if he didn't complete the ball, just throw the thing as far as you can out of bounds down the field. And he didn't even do that.
Sam Darnold, 25 of 40 tonight, 245, a touchdown late. T.J. Hawkinson.
Yeah.
Welcome to the party. T.J. Hawkinson. Better late than never, I suppose, for him to get a touchdown. And he did throw that interception as well. He was sacked 9 times. That's brutal. I was in the back room as we're about to pause here because I know that the head coach, Kevin O'Connell, we're gonna want to take his comments at the press conference when he jumps up to the podium. But Abbott was he had his X feed rolling and scrolling. And it was like, here are all the records that the Vikings are setting in this game the wrong way. 82 yards lost on sacks tonight alone. Brutal. And the Minnesota Vikings now get a winner to think about it. 27-9, the final. As I mentioned, we are going to pause. Continue to take your calls and texts, but I do absolutely want to be ready to rock when Kevin O'Connell takes the podium, and you're going to get to hear that here. Vikings Fan Line. This is Minnesota Vikings football.
What's poppin'? Justin Jefferson here.
Football is a lot of explosion, a lot of energy and attitude.
It's a whole different vibe with these open earbuds. It's like you're in the moment, but also you can hear everything around you. You can be involved.
To have good sound and to be so light on your ear means a lot to me. Putting that music into my ears.
You feel good enough to go out there and play.
You turn on that switch, no one can stop you.
For more, check out Bose.com.
From the convenience stores in Cloquet to the supermarkets in St. Cloud, the Minnesota Lottery's Vikings scratch game is here. These are the concrete coliseums where we'll challenge chance and chase glory, where we'll gamely scratch and fearlessly scrape in pursuit of up to $100,000 in cash prizes. These are the stadiums where we come to play. Get in the game. Minnesota Lottery. I'm in. Must be 18 or older to play.
Hello, Vikings fans. Frankie Lensmeyer here, and owner of the Humble Goat. The secret is out, and I'm delighted to present our newest product, the Humble Goat Whey Protein Powder. Yes, you heard correctly, goat whey protein. Why goat? Because it's packed with 25 grams of protein per serving. It's easy to digest, helps with muscle growth repair, and it tastes great. Now available online at thehumblegoat.com. For recipes, check us out on social media. Use SKOL24 for 20% off your first purchase. Go Vikes!
TimberTech is the best looking decking on the market and the #1 brand with the pros. But TimberTech isn't just good looking today. It will look great for decades thanks to our innovative product design, industry leading product and labor warranties, and top rated fire resistance. If you want a great deck, you want a TimberTech deck. Build with the #1 brand in premium decking. Build with TimberTech. TimberTech, it's everything wood should be. And available at leading building supply dealers and lumber yards near you.
Your home for all things purple.
10-5, touchdown!
FM 100.3 KFAN, The Fan.
Hello, fellows. Viking fan for over 50 years. Clearly, we were exposed again. The O-line was horrible, and it has been throughout most of the year. However, we're no longer playing the Jacksonville Jaguars, and this is the end result.
Welcome back to Vikings Fan Line. Thank you so much for the talkbacks via the free iHeartRadio app. Shockingly, a lot to filter through and a lot of expletives that I got to work out of this thing. But welcome back. 27-9 is the final. Vikings fans are frustrated. The season is over. Still awaiting. Tick tock, the head coach, the podium. Anytime now, you could say. Mark in Wisconsin. Mark, welcome to Vikings Fan Line.
Hey, Nardo, Ron, thanks for taking my call. 56-year-old Viking fan. Listen to you guys all the time. This is kind of a sad moment, but I got to say, I feel really bad for Darnold in a way. He's lost millions after these 2 games. Flores might have his head coaching job in doubt. KOC's contract negotiations are certainly going to take a hit. But my biggest takeaway from this is a guy who played like football, not like you, Ron, and coaches youth football. Why are we sitting there letting Sam drop back on 4 or 5 steps and he's getting murdered, and we're still running these deep routes? There's nothing I see where they're coming across the middle. Hawkinson's open. There's no adjustment. There's no wide receiver in motion or any kind of fake jet sweeps. If you're man press coverage, get these guys moving to get. I mean, Addison man, he's right up there with Jefferson, I believe, man. These two receivers that we have, we can't waste them. And, I agree with you guys. 14 wins, I'll take it, man. We didn't expect it this year. It's house money. But to go out like this, again, as a Viking fan and be embarrassed and set records for all the wrong reasons, it just gets you down and makes you want to take a gummy before the game or something like that,
I do know, and I appreciate you calling in, Mark. I will say this. I did not say this, Ron, that 14 wins, because I think some people will take that route, and in some ways I do understand. I believe that Kevin O'Connell got the most of what you were going to get out of Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
And Sam Darnold, in the form of outliving expectations, the team outperformed maybe a lot of expectations as well.
100%.
The Vegas total preseason 6.5, you win 14.
Yep.
Once you win 14 games, you don't get to use that to excuse the last 2 weeks. Do you agree with me in that regard?
Yeah, like you are good. If you win 14 fights, you are a good fighter. So if you lose 2, you just got your butt beat, period.
Yeah.
And you got, again, I go back to when I tweeted this last week against Aaron Glenn and Kevin O'Connell in the red zone. He got out-coached. And when I say that, people understand this. Getting out-coached is not like you're a bad coach. It just means either that coach moved a chess piece better than you.
Yeah.
That coach knew your quarterback couldn't do something and you kept thinking he could. Whatever it is, your job is to coach every single player. So if your quarterback screws up, it lands on the head coach for not having him prepared because he was prepared 14 times.
Yep.
I mean, crap, he was prepared, I'd say, other than the other Rams game, 15 times. Like, he lost that Lions game at the end. So that, to me, that does not make sense to be able to play it that way.
Let's do this. Let's head back to Arizona and let's hear from the head coach, Kevin O'Connell, addressing the media after the 27-9 loss.
The brotherhood, this team truly did a lot of special things this year, but we didn't play well enough to win the football game. And first and always, I know I've got to be better for our team. I've got 100% confidence in our players, our coaches. We've got the right kind of things going on in this organization, but we've got to find a way to play better as a team, complement each other, and do the things we need to do to win games against the class of the NFL. And that's what we're going to go back to work and do. I love this organization. I love those players more than anything. And I just appreciate everything about those guys and what they mean to me. They're a part of me, and they all know that. But that only gets you so far. You got to play to a certain standard, and we did not do that. Way too many negatives on offense, missed opportunities, and things that we could all do better. And that's what we're going to go back to work and do. It's obviously very fresh right now for a team that, from the moment I stood before them in training camp to right now, all they've ever done is be the exact team you want as a head coach. And I'm very, very fortunate to have this group. I feel very blessed to be able to stand before them. Back to work we go. But this stings. I know it stings for our fans. It hurts. And we've got to use this as fuel moving forward. But at the same time, understand the special group we had and acknowledge it. And make sure we're aware of how we move forward, trying to build upon this team into next year.
How many sacks did you think it was Sam holding the ball? It was difficulty with pressure.
Yeah, I thought we gave up some pressure. A couple of those there where they were able to scheme up a guy here or there that on paper you have accounted for, but it doesn't matter on paper. And then I did think, there were some other times where, we're not going to be able to win the game on one play, and me included. But there was just some plays there that if we go back and look at it, I'm sure, everybody in that room will acknowledge a play here or there, and just far too many negatives really over the last 2 weeks, just too many negative plays that set you behind. And in a game like that, you've got to find a way to sustain a little bit more forward momentum and still try to have your playmakers make plays, give Sam the chance to put the ball in play. We just got find a way to eliminate some of those negatives, because that's never going to be a formula for any kind of success, regardless of if it's January or not. Just not a formula to win.
Kevin, there's a lot of things that go into it, but just broadly, what do you think happened to Sam these past 2 weeks?
I think it's important that we look at it really two ways. Football-wise, playing the position of quarterback, areas that we can really focus on to improve, areas as an offense where we can pick our quarterback up with a little bit of execution, give him another click when it is a four-man rush, whatever it is. We've got to find a way to look at it from that standpoint. But also, I just want to say, I think it's very important we all think about, Sam's body of work, what he was able to do this year, when not very many people thought he would be able to lead a team to 14 wins. Very rare for a quarterback in their first year. In fact, it is rare, the most wins by a first-year quarterback with a team. And just the way he came in, committed himself to just a daily process to be the best version of himself. It did not work out in the end. And I think Sam would be the first one to tell you. Could he have played better tonight? I'm sure he would tell you that he could have. Could I have coached better? I promise you I could have. Could our team have rallied around, a play here or there to try to keep that thing competitive? For sure. But the other phase of it for Sam is acknowledging the things that made him a winning quarterback this year and the consistency at the times he had it throughout the year and what that meant for our team, because I think that can stay with him moving forward as he goes back to work. Proud of him. Proud of, really everybody in that locker room. But Sam and the journey him and I went on this year will always, be something that's a special place in my heart for sure.
How much did you feel like him holding the ball had to do with the pressure?
Yeah, I think, Ben, there's just times where no matter how much you believe in the scheme and how much you believe in things, especially when, sometimes you're calling quick game and if they take away your first throw, there's completions to be had. If you've got to find a way to check the ball down and just keep moving the ball forward, completions have negative effects on defenses. They just do. And those moments where you're holding that ball and your reaction is to try to make a play, we can't talk out of both sides of our mouth because he sure as heck made a lot of plays doing that this year. But I think that's part of the growth. Remember, this guy's 27 years old or whatever he is, and I think he has a foundation now of both the things you do at the quarterback position to have success and the things that sometimes you have to learn the hard way. You talk to some of the greatest players that ever played the game at that position, and they all had learning moments throughout their journey. And I think Sam will take a lot of positive out of this year, and I think he'll look, like we all will, very much, inward and what's the next step, what's the next phase for him to find that consistency. And, I'm going to do the same thing. And I still feel there's so many ways I could be better for this team. So fortunate to have this group, this coaching staff, and that's what we're going to do, Ben.
That's head coach Kevin O'Connell addressing the media. And let's do this. Let's pause for station identification. This is Minnesota Vikings football.
For Minnesota sports, follow the leader. Minnesota sports leader is FM 100.3, KFXN Minneapolis, St. Paul. The Fan.
So Kevin O'Connell sparked a couple of thoughts in my head. So we're going to pause. I do know that Ben Lieber tracked down a couple of players in the locker room. We're going to hear those interviews around the corner as we continue on. Calls, texts, talkbacks ready to fire. It's Vikings Fanline, the final one, because the Vikings lost in their wild card. Whatever you want to call tonight's game, 27-9, the final. It was an absolute beatdown. It was early. It was often for McVay's team. And 14 wins is good, but the playoff games, that's why you play the regular season, is to get to the postseason in search of a Super Bowl. And they just weren't even moderately game to compete against the Rams tonight in Arizona. So we'll continue that conversation. Ron Johnson back in the mix. I'm Nordo. It's Vikings Fanline. This is Minnesota Vikings football.
Welcome to the Chevy Lightning Round. Guess the clues to win. First team, you're up.
Powerful, commanding, unstoppable.
Silverado.
Adventurous, fun, techie.
Trailblazer.
Stylish, nimble.
Trax.
Innovative, electric.
Blazer EV.
Internet that's everything you imagine, and then some. Quantum Fiber, your world unleashed. Sign up today and get internet with a price for life. Keep your internet service monthly rate for as long as you keep your plan. Internet service monthly rate subject to continued plan availability.
First turned over, Ticketmaster gives you more flexibility to sell your seats. So get those touchdown celebrations ready and score your tickets today at Ticketmaster.com/Vikings.
When the game is over, it's time to relax. No matter if it's a win or loss, you always win at Spalon Montage, the Twin Cities' premier salon and spa destination for over 25 years. With convenient locations in Edina, Woodbury, and Chanhassen, there's a Spalon close to you. Right now, football fans, you can get a bonus when you give the gift of Spalon. Purchase a $175 gift certificate and receive a $25 gift certificate for yourself. Visit Spalon.com now or call 952-915-2900.
The best thing about TimberTech decking is the durability.
651 Carpets Plus. We bring the showroom to you. Come on in. Here's how your free in-home estimate works. We bring you all the latest and greatest styles to complement your home. We use our state-of-the-art measuring system so we can give you the best price for your project on the spot. And we have thousands of products that you could have installed the next day. Call 651 Carpets Plus for your free in-home estimate.
Vikings Talk, FM 100.3 KFAN.
I don't know why everyone's so happy about a 14-win season when all that matters is when you win in the playoffs. We need to understand that all that matters is the playoffs. The regular season's great.
Preach on.
We can talk about it all day long, but when it comes down to it, it is the playoffs that matter. And obviously, we could have used the draft pick, the higher draft pick than what we're going to be drafting, 24th? I mean, I'm sure we'll get a guard, hopefully, but then again, who knows?
Thank you for the talkbacks, free iHeartRadio app.
Hey, Ryan from Lakeville.
Hey.
First time in 20 years I've turned the game off at halftime. They didn't want it. They didn't care. Coaching wasn't changing. No one cared. Pathetic. It's over. It's just bad. Just really, really bad.
Hey, what did you think about that, Ron? Welcome back, Vikings fan line. 27-9 the final. The Vikings season is over. Rams heading to Philly, and Vikings on the outside looking in yet again. Ron, what did you think? I felt it, and I've seen this a little bit via social and a couple of different talkbacks and text. That one referenced it. Kind of a lack of urgency.
Yeah.
Late third, into the fourth. Ultimately, in the end, it was almost no tempo. Mm-hmm. Just kind of chilling out there like it's a preseason game, just trying to, see that we can get the wheels turning on this thing and maybe put a touchdown drive together before save some face before the L. Did you see that at all? Because yeah. I just felt like, did the coach wave the white flag in this one? And it's just, I can't get this thing done.
Yeah, I don't know if he waved the right flag. It just seemed off. I don't know. Like, I can't put my finger on it, but I thought coming out of half, it should have been up tempo. 24-3. You're down 3 scores. Yeah. Like, you got to maximize. Because, people look at the box score and be like, oh, they had 71 plays to the Rams 51 plays. They had this. Like, they're going to try to, like you said, celebrate as much as possible. But at the end of the day, everybody noticed that. Coming out of the half, it just seemed very, business as usual. Like, oh, we're still in this game. No, you got to press the issue. Like, the way the Rams came out to start the game, that's how the Vikings should have started the second half. It should have been quick, fast, let me attack them, see if we can score quick. Now let's get my defense back on the field. Again, let's try to score 2 touchdowns in the third quarter. And if we can hold them from scoring, then in the fourth quarter, we're 1 score out of this. And you're right. It seemed like there was no urgency in that second half.
To the phone lines, Justin in Iowa. Justin, welcome to Vikings Fan Line.
Yeah, hey, guys.
Hey.
I've, listened to you guys forever, and this is my first time calling in, and you guys always put on a heck of a show, I tell you.
Thank you.
But I did want to talk a little bit about it on Sam Darnold. And I don't want to really crap on the guy because he has had a good year. But, even against the Lions, he didn't look like he's been playing, and tonight he didn't look that great. Like, in the middle of, this second quarter, why not try, Daniel Jones in there, or, even if you had two Mullins. He had happy feet everywhere. He couldn't find anybody. I mean, I'm not saying take him out for the whole game, but just let him settle down for a second, take a breath, and then come back into it. Maybe I don't know, but it just, this is just a heartbreaker, man. This one really hurt.
Well, I appreciate you calling in, Justin, and your thoughts, Ron, on the idea. I mean, I never saw the potential of pulling Darnold regardless of the result.
Yeah.
I believe that Jones was actually inactive and so only eligible as an emergency third QB.
Yep.
So I believe they would have had to go to Mullins first. And frankly, I don't know the entire logistics of that. But I don't believe that Daniel Jones was an option. But, the idea, just this is ridiculous. Worst, and the question I would have actually is ultimately, unless you're pulling him in the early second quarter, at what point in the second half would you go to Mullins? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think there was ever a time.
I don't think so.
The tough thing about it is I don't think Mullins gives you anything that Sam Darnold wasn't. Again, I go back to the play calling, and we talked about this. When you can a play, you're basically getting out of the call play, and you're going to something else that was the second play call, because they usually give you two plays.
Yep.
It'll be like, trips right, 383 Z star, can to 46 counter. And so you could see him come up to the line and can it. Even within the can, when you kill a play, you can also switch the direction in which you run the ball. And that to me even felt like why are you not coming to the line, forcing the Rams? Because if you go no huddle or tempo, the Rams have to kind of show their hand because they're not going to be able to get some of their calls in. They're just going to be in base looks. If they have like a blitz called, you're going to see it because they're going to be scrambling too to get lined up. But if you have them on their heels, you just keep throwing the ball short down the field, keep matriculating down the field, keep going down the field. It just felt like every play, especially late on, was just like, I got to go for it all. I got to go for it all. Stop going for it all. And I didn't understand that thought process. Like, at what point do you get out of going for it all? Just slowly get down the field and score, and then do it again and do it again. But it never. They got down so far. It just felt like, we gotta go for the Hail Mary every time.
Patrick in St. Louis Park. Patrick, welcome to Vikings Fanline.
Hey, guys. Man, what a disappointing year, or disappointing end of this great season. But,
yeah,
I mean, I was just bringing up the thought of what if we trade Kevin O'Connell while he's at his all-time high? I mean, the players didn't look ready. No one looked ready. And, man, I don't know. I just wanted to get your guys' thought on that.
Yeah, I appreciate you calling in here. Now, I will say that trading him, if you're going to trade him at his all-time high, I probably should have done so a couple weeks ago, okay? Because this Detroit thing, and now what we saw tonight, a lot of people are down on the coach. You mentioned the play calling, and I guess we'll do this and then we'll pause. I know we still have I have a couple of interviews in the can that eventually we'll get to. Ben Lieber with Harrison Smith, Ben Lieber with C.J. Ham. What do you think that the coach needs to learn from this too?
Yeah,
and
I thought he learned last week, but
you think?
Yeah, you would think so.
Well, that's the spot I'm in. I'm starting to decide. Kevin O'Connell's going to get re-upped. I love Kevin O'Connell and what he's been able to do. There's a part of me, I mentioned is it the O-line? I keep playing in my head these chicken or the egg games, and with the head coach, it's starting to get to 13-win season, his first year here. And now what we watch this year, are we seeing a trend of a head coach he's overperforming with an under-talented roster in some respects? So you're getting those big moments. The ball's bouncing in your way. This year, in a smaller factor, you're getting a QB that in some ways is a retread year of his career, year of his life.
Yep.
You're getting penalties in your favor every single week. And for the most part, you're staying healthy. The guys that go to IR ultimately come back with the exception. I mean, you rolled into tonight's game with every preferred starter except for Christian Darrisaw.
Yeah.
And your general manager actually went out and he didn't get a consummate all-pro, but he was able to find, in very short order, Cam Robinson from the Jaguars, who has started a ton of games in this league and save for some penalty issues the last few weeks, has been really steady for you. So you're mostly healthy. You get the year of a career out of your QB, but then you watch when the chips are actually down.
Yeah.
You fold like a cheap suit. Is there an element to this where right now we have a super under-talented roster that our head coach, and we can name the Justin Jeffersons, we can name the Jordan Addisons. We're not without talent. Mm-hmm. But is this a spot where this is just an overperforming operation right now?
I struggle with that one because, like, not last year, year before last, you could say, okay, Brian Flores didn't have the pieces of the puzzle he needed to, like, get over the hump. They were winning games, very close games. Defense was giving up a ton of yards. Last year, just bad year. This year, Kirk Cousins was part of the injury, so it wasn't a bad year. It was a decent start. Kirk Cousins was the number one quarterback in the NFL. Gets hurt, then all the wheels fall off.
Sure.
This year. So technically, if Kirk Cousins doesn't get hurt, they probably win 13 games, maybe, or 12, possibly, last year.
Well, they were kind of grinding around 500 at that stage.
Yeah,
they had lost to Philly. They had lost to the Chargers. They had lost to the Chiefs. I mean, they were struggling before they got to Lambeau.
Look at the games that they almost won with Josh Dobbs.
You probably win that Broncos game.
Right.
The Atlanta game might not be as dramatic as it was.
You probably win that one easier. The Raiders game that probably is not the worst game we've ever seen in our life.
Yeah, I mean, that was quite a thriller. It was 7-2.
But so, to take the two, like you said, the 2 13-win seasons, 14 wins, I struggle with J.J. McCarthy now because now I want to see him. I mean, I think we've seen everything Sam Darnold possibly can do.
Yeah.
So do you now?
That conversation might be
correct.
And if you heard, did you notice the way the coach was, and a lot of things that Sam did, he's going to take that with him when he gets back to work.
Like, just go ahead, pack up your locker.
Take that with him.
Like,
where?
Don't call us. We'll call you.
Yeah.
I wonder, did he get as much as possible out of Sam Darnold that he can get? And the playoffs, and we know this, it ratchets up. Like, you watch Jaden Daniels. It ratcheted up, and he came through at the very end. What's his name? Hurts. He struggled a little bit. That offense, that throwing wasn't what it should have been, for an Eagles offense. And the Vikings, the game got faster. The Rams were moving fast. The defense was moving fast. The Giants, like last year, I don't remember much about that Giants game besides the fact of Saquon Barkley. I don't remember Daniel Jones doing anything special to beat not last year, before last.
2 years ago?
Yeah, I don't remember that playoff game being like too bright. Something is off in the playoffs.
They were getting us with like Isaiah Hodgins and Daniel Bellinger.
That's what I mean. It wasn't
Jones
anything
special. Was running a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he was getting, and then he had the Saquon bit. And so when you look at this game, I wonder if Sam Darnold, again, like after the throw, you saw a couple throws where he hit the lineman's helmet, with his arm. You saw a couple throws where he had to sidearm it because he had no throw. Like, again, I just felt like he was a little gun shy. Like, he just felt like the guys were getting pushed back. And there were times where nobody was around him and he was doing the happy dance.
Yeah.
Like, oh, somebody might be here. Somebody might be here. He just never stood in there and just delivered the balls. But as a coach, if I'm watching this, I question, why am I running 15 to 18 yards down the field? Because my offensive line is not holding up, like you said.
Yep.
The offensive line is not doing well. So if I don't have time to throw, why am I trying to create time to throw? Why am I running play action if I'm not really running the ball? There's pieces of this where it's like the defense knows you're not handing the ball off.
So you're saying if you don't run the ball, but then you still try to do play action,
the linebackers aren't going anywhere.
Oh.
They're just dropping back. And that's what they did. Every time he did that, they dropped back or they blitzed us because they knew Sam Darnold's back was turned.
Yeah, and that's so. And this was, we talked about it week 8, talked about it earlier today into this game and a bit last week as well, that this establishing the run and not getting so vastly outpossessed. I mean, it was, and the Vikings, I don't have it in front of me. Let me see exactly what it ended up as. Not that it matters. Yeah, it was closer this time. As a matter of fact, Vikes had the ball for 32 minutes. A lot of that was time wasting. Yeah, absolutely.
But even Kobe Durant's strip
they were in such a hurry to score in the third.
Strip of Sam Darnold, that was just a trigger. He wasn't supposed to come. He just saw, like, this dude didn't hand it off to anybody and he's standing back here. Let me just go. My guy's not, and there's nothing threatening where I'm at. And he just went. And, of course, Sam Darnold probably should have thrown the ball out of bounds, but he held on to it. And the problem, and here's the thing, though, boom or bust. He made some big plays holding on to the ball this year. He ran around every once in a while. He Houdini'd a couple plays, and we were like, oh, my God, I can't believe this. Is this Michael Vick? Is this, who is this? Is this Aaron Rodgers? So he maybe was thinking the same thing, like, oh, I've made this work. it doesn't work for everybody. This Rams defense is way better than people give them credit for. I heard like PA, Musk, everybody on the pregame show.
Sure.
That's all everybody kept talking about. This Albany, Florida State bit with Verse. This, all these low-level 7-man front guys that technically weren't first-round picks or, 5 stars out of high school. And look what Sean McVay's done. You can't not understand how fast this defense moves. When you watch film, they move fast. And that's the one thing I noticed when I broke it down. I kept saying, you got to give them second-level throws. You got to run a quick one. If it's not there, you got the second one behind it. That's what they did to us. Every time Stafford went to throw it, there was somebody in the flat. Once he knew he had time, he hit Puka or somebody on the deep ball.
Yeah.
Every time. He had 2 options.
2 of the last 3 years, the Vikings have won 13 and 14 games. And then when it was time in the postseason, that's just where my head's at on it. I see what you're saying too, Ron, and I agree with you. But that is the adjustment. That's something that the coach needs to learn from, because I still feel when I see the moments and enjoy the ride and long season and so many cool things that happened in 2024, and I watched the last 2 weeks, I feel like the head coach is in some ways there's an overperforming element to this team in games in which the season is not on the line. And once they get to the postseason, well, in the 2 versus the Giants and now against the Rams, look out. Caleb in South Dakota. Caleb, welcome to Vikings Fanline.
Hey, guys. I mean, you kind of hit on it there. Wanted to bring up some KOC talk, and we look at the body of work in those 3 seasons, and everybody always brings up the 1-possession wins. And I guess I don't mean by any means to call for his head, but even in those 1-win games, how come it seems like we just never finish games? There's a lot of those games that were up big. I know the NFL is a whole crazy thing, but it seems like I feel like there's a lack of just that killer instinct, and I don't know what really needs to be learned from Kevin to really just finally put the hammer down and finish a game versus make these scores as competitive as they are.
I appreciate you calling in. It's a good point. I've also gotten a couple of texts kind of playing off of that. The idea that should Kevin O'Connell consider mixing up the play calling duty a little bit?
Wes Phillips?
Has that ever popped in your head, Ron?
It has. It always does. Because we suffered that with Zimmer. And so you always think about that, the coaches that hold on. But McVay's done it, and it works for him.
Yeah.
So it's kind of tough to say that when you can say he's done it and he's won a Super Bowl doing it.
Right.
Andy Reid, he does it. He won it. Well, I guess I don't know do you give it. I don't know if you give it to other people I think it's Andy Reid. Say what you want to say. I mean, I guess Bieniemy kind of was doing it too.
I don't think he was doing it.
Yeah, it was Andy Reid's offense. So, I struggle when I see head coaches do it and it works. So they, with the 49ers, same deal. That's his. We know that Shanahan calling those plays. So
those are pretty high-end examples, Ron.
Yeah, they're getting to the Super Bowl and they win it and they're getting it done. So
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, Kevin O'Connell, this is going to be year 4.
And then there's everyone else.
It's going to be year 4. He's got his first-round draft pick quarterback. Again, I've always said I like J.J. McCarthy from the start. You can go back to my tweet when the Michigan Wolverines visited the University of Minnesota and I saw Kwesi on the sideline. I said they are here to see J.J. McCarthy. Everybody, you go back and look at all the tweets. People are telling me J.J. won't be there when the Vikings draft. He'll be gone before the Vikings pick.
Sure.
They got him.
Yeah.
And so let's see what happens. Like, I'm excited now. Like, I was all on the Darnold train, and you know what? It's off the tracks. So let me get my bags and let me go ahead and move over and get some, what would JG probably, Justin Guard and Burrell, was it JJ Properties or something, or JJ Apartments? I don't even, JJ Condos.
They'll come up, but they need a little.
The McCarthy Motel.
There you go. There's the alliteration that we look for in such names.
That sounds like where Max hangs out late at night.
Well, we'll ask him during the break. Is what we'll do. Is we'll find out if he hangs out at McCarthy Motel. We will get some more calls and more talkbacks rolling here. It's Vikings Fanline.
They rent by the hour.
Vikings season and the beds vibrate. Vikings season ends 27-9 is the final, and off season is upon us. Your thoughts as we continue Vikings Fanline right here on KFAN and the Minnesota Vikings Radio Network.
Hosting the game at home? No worries. Kenmore has the lineup. Quick cooking air fryers, easy cook grills, spacious ovens, and powerful dishwashers mean you can serve up a spread and still have time to watch the game. Shop Amazon for the latest from Kenmore, a home appliance partner of the Minnesota Vikings. With Kenmore, cooking and cleanup are a breeze, so you never miss a play. Enjoy energy-efficient appliances that save you time and money. Elevate your game day experience with Kenmore's reliable and innovative products. Get more from Kenmore.
Hey, so what's better than a Vikings win? Celebrating a Vikings win cruising around in a brand new Polaris Slingshot S or a Polaris snowmobile. So right now at Quick Trip, for every $1 you spend with Quick Rewards, you'll earn a Fan Zone point to spend in the Viking Zone. Then with your Quick Rewards app, spend points for your chance to win prizes throughout the season, like a Polaris Slingshot S. Nice. Kick off your winning season with Quick Trip and your Minnesota Vikings. See quicktrip.com/fanzone for details.
For the Vikings, growth is a team effort. Coaches maximize performance. Teammates push your limits. But in business, who's there to help you grow? Lumen. That's who. Like saving live broadcasts from lag time, helping deliver the in-stadium experience for fans with millions more around the globe, and bringing all the benefits of the cloud to your network. So it's as secure as a defensive line and as legendary as the fans that cheer them on. Welcome to the on-demand network that meets your demands. Learn more at lumen.com. Services not available everywhere.
If you're a window installer, keep it simple. Choose Anderson 400 Series windows. They're the cladwood windows contractors trust the most. So much so, they're the windows contractors trust for their own homes. And with fewer callbacks, the choice is simple. It's Anderson 400 Series windows, the windows contractors trust the most. Get started at AndersonWindows.com today.
Claims based on 2022 Anderson brand survey of U.S. contractors.
Your radio home for Vikings football. FM 100.3 KFAN, The Fan.
To the talkback machine.
Hey, fellas. As a lifelong Vikings fan, I'm conditioned for disappointments like this, but I just want to take a alternative view on this season. I thought it was endlessly entertaining, just like a couple years ago. This team is just a disaster, but they always entertain. Thank you, Vikings, for a great season.
This team is just a disaster, but they always entertain. More talkbacks.
So why do we keep talking about KOC as this great offensive mind? Yeah, he's got 14 wins in the regular season, but every time the game counts and he needs to produce, he doesn't. He doesn't.
I feel it. To the text messages 64686. Matt in New York. They have personnel deficiencies at interior offensive line, interior defensive line, and corner. But O'Connell may be the biggest issue they have. He can't coach with a lead, can't put teams away, adjust in-game, get his team ready for big games. And that's where, again, that's where I'm stuck here mentally. And to those of you listening, it's Vikings Fanline, and I appreciate the texts and the talkbacks and the calls. This is where I'm stuck. Is you mentioned those personnel deficiencies, and there are things that the coach needs to get better at. The adjustments that you're talking about, I'm with you. There's some clock management things that are nitpicky, but actually important. So really, they're not nitpicky. But the not putting teams away and some of these other things after you name the personnel deficiencies, Matt. I see where you're going with it. Understand it, respect it, but that's where I'm focused first. Is I still. It's cool to win 14 games. It's cool to win 13. It's fun. This team is a disaster, but they always entertain, as you heard in the talkback. I agree. I think it does start from a personnel standpoint. And I think that we might be seeing a situation where the head coach is vastly outperforming in the regular season what this roster truly can find as its zenith or its apex. And then when the chips are actually down, it's over, and it's just the way the last 2 weeks, as ugly as they've been, it's just so brutal. And here we are again, picking up the pieces. To the fan line, to the phone lines here, and then we're gonna jump back to those Lieber interviews. Casey, welcome to Vikings Fan Line.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thank you for letting me on. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I just wanted to speak my mind, in particular about number 75, Brian O'Neill. I really words cannot explain how disappointed I am in that man alone, and literally letting down the most poverty organization I've ever been a part of. in my entire life. I feel like we do this every year. We get a quarterback. We don't know if he's good, do good in regular season, and it's the same disappointment every year. And quite frankly, I'm sick of it. And Brian O'Neill just doesn't help at all. I think Jared Verse, he owned him. He literally owned him that whole time. And I just can't. Words cannot describe what I'm feeling right now.
I appreciate you calling in. That's Casey. And I can't be mad at him from the fact that Jared Verse, you mentioned the speed of this defense, Ron. How good was Verse? You saw Kobe Turner. 9 sacks. You start to lose track of just, everybody was on Sam tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Dalton Reisner was getting shoved back. Blake Brandell. We've seen now that this is not just last week, but I would say in some ways a regression, Ron, particularly on the interior. And again, Cam Robinson, I look at him as steady. It's difficult for me. Again, I can't look at him as being awful. I can't look at him as having high expectations. Cam Robinson is just a veteran at this point. Just simply enough. Just a steady, healthy veteran post-Darisaw injury. And O'Neill ultimately leaves. He was being evaluated for a concussion. How about Mr. Quesenberry, by the way? He had to play in both Rams games. Yeah, it's tough for Mr. Quesenberry.
Different spots.
Yes, correct.
Left tackle
on the left side and
right tackle.
Right tackle. Well, that's the.
And that was concussion, right? That's what they ended up saying.
I think it was a concussion. Yeah, and that's tough for O'Neill. Backside of, I forget. He tore. I believe it was his Achilles at Lambeau a few years ago, and then he kind of limped his way to the finish line a couple years ago again, and then now out in the playoff game with a concussion. I can't say that he let us down per se. I'm not going to go that route. I like Brian O'Neill a lot. He's been valuable for us, but it was a tough night and really maybe a tough few weeks in a row here for the Minnesota moving company. Brad in Cincinnati. Brad, welcome to Vikings Fanline.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Thanks for taking my call.
Good evening.
I think my take on this is, absolutely an exciting season. I think we always can expect that the Vikings will show up and make it interesting. I'm definitely getting on the bandwagon of KOC, obviously having some room to improve. But for me, what I was mentioning before is I think there's a silver lining here. And I'm very much an optimistic person at heart. And I think for us that when we'll look back at this, it's kind of a blessing in disguise because the way that Sam has performed, to close out the season, for one, I've never really been a Sam Darnold believer. I think there's a reason why he's been kind of shipped around the league. I do think KOC did a great job kind of getting the most out of him, but I think KOC has shown that he's done that whenever you even looked at what he did last year with Dobbs and those guys. I guess my thing here is, though, since Sam did not perform up to the elite level that we needed him to, if you swap him and Matt Stafford and you put Stafford on this team, I think obviously the outcome of this game is far more differently. But for us, this is going to prevent the Vikings from having to overpay him, not having to extend him. And I think we're going to be able to easily move on now to J.J. McCarthy. And we're already going into the next couple of seasons, I think 6th, 7th in cap space, and not having to go and fork all that money over to a quarterback that has happy feet, that's seeing ghosts, and that's just not going to get it done. It does suck right now. I hate losing in the postseason. It seems like we always do that. But I think we'll look at this in the next year or two and think, all right, I'm glad that, this happened. We've moved on to McCarthy. And, maybe we can go and plug some holes in that offensive line with this cap space, hopefully hit in the draft, and look forward to some wins in the postseason.
I appreciate you calling.
My call, guys.
Yeah, thank you. Take care. I think that talker might be. Sam might have put that to bed the last couple of games.
Yeah.
So
at best, backup. Like he can come back as a backup.
And that is at some point when we're done being frustrated about what we had to endure the last 2 weeks, we can kind of start to turn the page maybe and actually get excited, as you mentioned last segment. Just kind of the excitement around. Now we get to see J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah, because he looked good in preseason. Got hurt.
Yeah.
See what he is.
And he's going to be healthy and ready to go. Let's go back to the locker room here. Ben Lieber absolutely fights his tail off, especially after losses, to get a microphone on some of these players. And Harrison Smith, he's played in a lot of games, several of these playoff games, and he's been on the wrong side, sadly, of too many of these. He was with Ben Lieber in the locker room back in Arizona. Let's listen to that conversation.
All right, everybody. This is going to be potentially a tough one. I'm standing right next to Harrison Smith. And, it's hard not to notice walking in this pretty emotional locker room, you specifically making sure that you talk to everybody, every single player, offense, defense, training staff, coaches, spending time letting everybody know how much you appreciate them. Why is it important for you to do that on this particular game?
There's a lot that goes into this. It's not strictly players. And I just want to give my thanks to everybody that makes it go. Obviously, wish we could have had a better result here today, but it's a tough pill to swallow right now, but it's been one of the most fun teams I've ever played on at any level. And there's a lot to be said about this group. And I really just wish I had a couple more weeks with them, to be honest.
When did you know that this defensive unit was special?
I thought we had a chance pretty early. You never know till the lights come on. But it was pretty early. And I wish we could have done a little more today. But this group enjoyed playing with each other and playing for each other. And that's what defense is about. It's also about winning. So, last game of the year, it's tough. It's tough to wrap your mind around it all, but the competitive spirit of this group is very high. And obviously wish we could have had a better result today.
When you think about Brian Flores and what he's done schematically and to get the best out of you, what are some of the things that you appreciate about his leadership?
I would say there's a lot. His consistency, his clarity, his creativity, his willingness to try things that I have not experienced in the game of football. To do that at this level it's harder than just saying that. You gotta let them hang a little bit, and I appreciate that approach. And we had a lot of success with it. Probably could have done more, but I would say as you get older and you're playing, it's tough to enjoy every day because things might not always feel as good as they used to, but just the amount of joy and fun I had this year working with our staff and with our players, is all-time high. All-time high.
What do you think the future holds for you?
I don't know. I'll probably chill out for a little bit. We'll figure that out down the road.
Do you have any sort of timeline on when you want to make any decision on anything?
Not really. I haven't wanted to think about it, kind of selfishly, just live in the moment. And I'm kind of still in that moment, so it'll come when it comes.
Well, whether it comes this offseason or it comes a few years from now, I just want to say thank you for myself and all the Vikings fans out there. You're one of one, and we all love you and appreciate you.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Appreciate Vikings Nation, everything they've always meant to me, so thank you.
All right, man.
Whew. Ben Lieber with Harrison Smith, 13 seasons as a member of the Minnesota Vikings. That includes 192 regular season games, 8 playoff games, and Hall of Fame level play from number 22, and he's feeling it right now. So, and I wouldn't expect, via that interview, yeah, I'm back or yeah, I'm done. It's an emotional moment. We're all mad because the team lost. I feel that as angry as or frustrated as we might be, he might even be more so. Wow. Terrific interview with Ben Lieber there. He did also catch up with Vikings fullback C.J. Ham back in Arizona. Let's listen to that as well.
Well, I'm down in the Vikings locker room with a lot of mixed emotions going on right now with the players. I'm here with CJ Ham. And CJ, I'm having a hard time processing the emotions right now. I know you guys are as well. How do you process all of the things that just happened with an amazing season? These seasons always come down to just an absolute thud, and it just screeches to a halt. A lot to be disappointed about, a lot to be happy about, but you're in this locker room dapping up all your teammates, a mix of smiles, tears. What's going through your mind right now?
There's a lot going through my mind. It's, every single team but one feels this way at some point. And it's unfortunate that ours got cut short before we can go on a run. But I'm just grateful. I'm just grateful to, have been a part of this team. This was a special year. And I'm just grateful God continues to allow me to do what I love, man. And just thankful for this organization. And, there's a lot of emotions.
You mentioned the word special. Listen, at the start of the season, let's be honest here. You guys weren't picked to finish very high and win a lot of games. I think Las Vegas had you guys at about 6.5 wins this year. When did you know that this team was special and you guys could go on a little run?
Yeah, honestly, during training camp, man, just the way KO runs everything, the way we were competing in practice. I knew a lot of the outside people had no idea the work that we were putting in, and you could tell, I could tell right away from how we worked and how we went about our business that we had the potential to be a really special team.
What was the message that head coach Kevin O'Connell gave you guys after this one?
I mean, obviously, he was very grateful for us and the year that we had, and he's a passionate man. He's a man that cares a lot, and cares about every single one of us individually. So you can see the emotion that he has, and he's ready to get back to work already. He's ready to lock in and make sure we have another opportunity next year to be in the same spot and get past this first round.
We always talk about how top-down this organization is first class, and I walked in the locker room and I saw all of ownership walking around and giving hugs, dapping people up. Not only are all the coaches and players doing that, but what's it mean to have the ownership take their time to talk to you guys and show the support and all the love?
Yeah, That's why the Vikings is one of the best organizations in the entire NFL, from top to bottom. And the ownership always being around, dapping up everybody, knowing the players by name. That's huge. That's huge, and that really makes it feel like a family. So I appreciate them more than ever.
Let's talk about this game real quick. Let's even go back and talk about last week's game. You guys offensively ran into a buzzsaw with Detroit. We're hoping to correct some things, and then things were tough sledding again today. What did the last two teams do to you guys offensively to sort of hold you guys out of the end zone and kind of keep you off track?
Yeah, Detroit and the Rams had a good game plan. Just making it tough for us playing. Having games up front, getting pressure on the quarterback, which is always tough, man. And at the end of the day, I feel like a lot of the things were self-inflicted as well. We just weren't executing, as like we were in the previous games, and sometimes that's just how the cookie crumbles. And you try to get back on track. Sometimes it's too late, but it was a tough one.
Well, CJ, I just want to say thank you for giving all of us fans a lot of hope, a lot of fun. We were on this ride with you guys and very present every single week. And it was a great ride. Hate that it ends like this, but appreciate your play and your passion.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
As Ben Lieber with CJ Ham back in the locker room in Arizona. A couple of awesome members of the Minnesota Vikings, number 22 and Mr. Ham. And tough one for them tonight as the Vikings lose 27-9. Vikings fan line is going to continue, but we will say for the very last time, good night to the Vikings radio network. You can continue to listen to Fanline for several more segments on the flagship 100.3 FM, The Fan. Thank you to all of our Vikings Radio Network affiliates, by the way. Awesome season. And the way that it ended is an absolute kick to the pants. I understand that. But tremendous partners that ultimately bring this to so many people on the radio. Very, very thankful for everyone that is a part of the Vikings Radio Network. And we will indeed continue. Again, 100.3 FM The Fan, the free iHeartRadio app, calls, talks, and texts and talkbacks shall continue. Ron Johnson's here. I'm Nordo, Max Fuller producing. Vikings lose 27-9 down in AZ to the Rams, and their season ends unceremoniously. This has been Vikings Fan Line and Random Computer Sounders on KFAN and the Minnesota Vikings Radio Network.
Welcome to the Chevy Lightning Round. Guess the clues to win. First team, you're up.
Powerful, commanding, unstoppable.
Silverado.
Adventurous, fun, techie.
Trailblazer.
Stylish, nimble.
Tracks.
Innovative, electric.
Blazer EV.
Lightning Round champions. You've guessed all the right Chevy clues. Silverado, Trailblazer, Trax, and Blazer EV.
Wherever the year takes you, explore it together in the Chevy of your choice. Current Chevy owners and lessees get $1,000 cash allowance on select popular Chevy models when you purchase. Visit ChevyDealOnline.com. Offer available on 2024 and 2025 Chevy Blazer, Silverado 1500, Colorado, and Trailblazer models. Must show proof of a current lease of a 2020 model year or newer Chevrolet vehicle, or be a current owner of a 2011 model year or newer Chevy vehicle for at least 30 days prior to the new vehicle sale. Not available with special financing, lease, and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 3/3/25.
What's poppin'? Justin Jefferson here.
Football is a lot of explosion, a lot of energy and attitude.
It's a whole different vibe. With these open earbuds, it's like you're in the moment, but also you can hear everything around you. You can be involved.
To have good sound and to be so light on your ear means a lot to me. Putting that music into my ears.
You feel good enough to go out there and play.
You turn on that switch, no one can stop you.
For more, check out Bose.com.
Attention farmers, Sukup Manufacturing is the world's largest family-owned manufacturer of grain storage, drying, and handling equipment. All right, did you know they are really good listeners? Sure, Sukup has good ideas, but the people who run the company work hand-in-hand with farmers and dealers who also have good ideas, and that openness leads to victories. If you are ready to start a project, check out a few of their featured products at Sukup.com. That's SUKUP.com. Sukup Manufacturing, helping farmers fuel and feed the world.
Hey, Vikings fans, as the official whiskey of the NFL, it's not a kickoff without the generous spirit of Crown Royal. And that's why we built the Crown Royal Rig, an absurdly awesome 18-wheeler delivering the generous spirit to stadiums and tailgates across the country. Follow the Royal Rig on its journey from city to city, bringing together local cuisine, NFL legends, and the opportunity to pack a purple bag for charity and win tickets to Super Bowl 59. Visit crownroyal.com for rules and more. Please drink responsibly.
TimberTech and TimberTech.com not only are the best in the business, but the decks they develop and the decks they build are the highest of quality. In fact, you will endure a lifetime of happiness with that deck with TimberTech. So ask for TimberTech when putting together your next project, and that also can include porches. TimberTech.com is where you find the free samples. Once again, start at TimberTech.com.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. Tired of the same old nicotine routine? Try Lou Nick's nicotine pouches. They've got flavors like Arctic Mint, Gum Mint, and Wintergreen. Anywhere, anytime. Lou Nick's are smoke-free and discreet. These pouches come in 3, 7, 14, or 28 milligrams, don't you know? Try Lou Nick's today and discover a new way to enjoy nicotine. Minnesota local since 2013. Nick's is available at your local retailer or online at theloonmn.com. Lou Nick's, anywhere, anytime. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Hey, it's Guardsy. Time is of the essence with COVID-19. Prescription oral treatment must be taken within the first 5 days of symptoms. If you have a high risk factor, ask your doctor if treatment is right for you. Learn more at treatcovid19.com, sponsored by Pfizer.
Starting your day with delicious Duluth coffee just hits better. Duluth Coffee Company roasts their own beans right off the shores of Lake Superior in Duluth and works with farmers across the world to select their freshest coffees. Find Duluth coffee at Costco, Lund's and Byerly's, and Kowalski's.
Listen live or podcast us anywhere and anytime through the free iHeartRadio app. Download and search KFAN. Just another way to listen to the Fan.
Vikings Fan Line now continues on FM 100.3 KFAN and the Fan Radio Network. Post-game coverage on the Fan is presented by our broadcast partners. Bose, sound is power. By Wilshire. By Xfinity. The TV1 Fund. By TimberTech and Diageo. And by your local Chevy dealers. Join the conversation on Vikings Fan Line by texting the studio at 64686. Calling 800-320-5326. Using the talkback feature on the free iHeartRadio app. Or by sending us a message on the KFAN social channels. Now, continuing to take your text, calls, talkbacks, and social messages, this is Vikings Fan Line with Ron Johnson and KFAN's Eric Nordquist.
Welcome and good evening. Vikings Fan Line continues right here on 100.3 FM, The Fan. Thank you to those listening on the free iHeartRadio app as well. Vikings season is over. Comes to an absolute screeching derailment-style halt for the Purple as at State Farm Stadium in Arizona. The Rams, playing home team in a division rival stadium, basically played and toyed with the Minnesota Vikings, winning 27-9. Ron Johnson's here. I'm Nordo from 9 to noon. Your calls, some texts and talkbacks to get to. How about last segment, that interview with Harrison Smith?
Yeah.
And kind of, again, it's just we're frustrated. The team lost. A lot of conversation pieces that surround it. Mm-hmm. But then you kind of hear that human element of, I think, a Hall of Fame caliber player in Harrison Smith.
For sure, Hall of Famer.
Well, see, that's the thing is I feel like it's getting there.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that it was always talked about in that way during portions of his career. But I agree with you. But with that said, hearing the human element and hearing the heart through his voice, it was kind of tough to listen to and just kind of puts in perspective some things and what's going on in that locker room right now.
Yeah, and it's raw. It's raw emotion right now. He's going to sit back. I mean, he has beautiful wife, kids at home. I think either one kid and she's pregnant or two kids. But I know, like that when that part of life starts to hit you, then, you get back to thinking about, okay, well, what do I want to keep doing? Do I want to be out here still? But right now it's just raw emotion.
Yeah.
And I think that was smart for him to say absolutely nothing because you don't want to react because you lost. You don't want to make any haste, decisions because we've seen guys do that where they're just like, all right, I'm done. This is it.
Right.
And maybe he wants to make next year's last year where he tells the world it's my last year, and then the team can do the whole like Ray Lewis did, the final ride, and we're doing this for Harry and blah blah, or maybe
Harry doesn't strike me as that guy. I don't think he wants to be.
He doesn't,
the one last.
but I feel like social media and Vikings Entertainment and people that want to make a big deal of it. I think the NFL Network.
Sure,
I think they want to do it. Same with like Ray Lewis. Like that was the reason why they. I mean, I know Ray probably wanted to do it too.
Ray wanted to do it,
but that was the reason why they did that.
Ray
they wanted
that.
all that footage. They wanted all those behind the scenes conversations. They wanted so like if you think about Harrison Smith in day to day life and all the things he goes through, the people he runs into, the people he talks to, Paul Krause, on the sideline, and all that kind of stuff. I know they want to capture it, and so for him, it's going to come down to like because he knows training camp he doesn't have to do anything.
Yeah.
So it's going to come down to like, do I want to put my body through it for one more year? After the way this ended, I think he does. Like, I think because he came through this whole season healthy. He didn't walk out of here limping and, all beat up. And, I mean, he's definitely beat up. It's football.
Yeah.
But, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't one of those seasons where, I mean, he did have the one game he set out.
I think he was still making plays.
Yeah. But, yeah,
Flores had even talked himself. He's into the season, he wanted to take some snaps off of him.
Right.
And he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Because he's still that good. So.
Yeah, and so for Cam Bynum, same thing. Like when you think about who's going to play where, you got a lot of free agents.
Are you kidding me with that? The entire secondary, except for Metellus, is effectively a free agent.
Yeah.
Griffin and Gilmore.
Yep.
Bynum.
Yep.
Byron Murphy Jr.
Yep.
Metellus has 1 year left.
Yep.
And Harrison, we're talking, this retirement
He's a free agent, yeah. So they just have to keep signing 1 year deals.
Well,
kind of like Chad Greenway.
Technically, he is a free agent.
He's a free agent. Yeah. He can just keep signing 1 year deals though, but. I think you have to sign, if Harrison Smith wants to come back, you have to go Bynum and you have to go Harrison Smith. You have to get those two back. And then from there, Byron Murphy, I think, is important as well. Like you gotta go that route.
To the phone lines, Travis. Travis, welcome to Vikings Fan Line.
Hey, how you guys doing tonight?
Beautiful, thank you.
Good. Well, I'm probably going to have a little twist on everybody else calling in.
Okay.
Give me a little bit of time. I got a couple of things I want to touch on. But first off, Vikings fans never cease to amaze me. I mean, the Vikings went they won 14 games this year, but we were predicted maybe to win 6.
Right.
Who would have ever thought that the last game of the season was for the NFC, or for our championship game against Detroit? So, even with Sam Darnold, there's no way I would get rid of Sam Darnold. Not in a million years. You look what he did this year. The Vikings have 2 positions that they need to address, and that's their O-line and their D-line. I mean, we have 0 running game, no threat. All year, I think we had 1 game where we had one single running back have 100 yards. So, I mean, that's tough on any quarterback when you say you're not going to have a running game. Nothing's going to work for you to run the ball. And our D-line, as good as our defense was, how many times did we get pressure or do anything if we didn't bring a blitz? I mean, at some point in time, it'd be nice to drop 7 back in coverage and get a pass rush, but we don't get anything. So you have no running game. You have no pressure on your defensive line. And one more thing to hit on, you look at the teams that are in the playoffs right now. You got teams that got Derrick Henry, Gibbs, Barkley, and then the teams that don't have it, you got Josh Allen, who is a threat. Daniels is a threat. And again, you come back to Sam Darnold. I mean, I think all he can do is grow off of this. To me, this team is too good to put in JJ's hands. I mean, he's had 2 major injuries, and I think Darnold can only get better. And the last thing I want to hit on is everybody's hitting on Darnold and everything else, but my biggest question is Justin Jefferson. All I ever hear, and not to take anything away from him, but all I ever hear is comparisons between him and Moss. And I'm sorry, I've been a Vikings fan for 30-plus years, and that comparison just is not realistic. I mean, last week he had one-on-one coverage. How many times do you see Justin Jefferson running wide open or bailing out Sam Darnold when he's got to force a ball in there, as opposed to Moss? I mean, half the balls that Moss caught were balls that shouldn't even have been thrown, to be honest. I mean, he was double covered and he come down with the ball. I don't see Jefferson helping him out. We don't have a running game, and like I said, you can't go into the playoffs and your defensive scheme is 50% of the time you're going to blitz.
Right.
Because you're going to get beat on that. I mean, you got guys like, and look at the 2 quarterbacks that beat us. You got Goff and you got Stafford, guys that are willing to sit in there and hang out and deliver the ball under pressure. And you got guys that run crossing routes.
All right, Travis, I got to let you go, my friend, and I appreciate the points made, but at some point, bring it back to us. I can't. Kevin O'Connell in his postgame actually talked about it, and he was more firm on it than he has been at any point during the season. The interior of the offensive line just isn't good enough, man, and it needs to get better. He even I saw a couple of quotes on it specifically that he needs to shore up that interior of the pocket. I mean, that's and I will to the caller's point. I'm also in the interior of the defensive line. It's been a talker. I mean, the name I always go back to is Tom Johnson. The last time that we had an actual 3 technique in there that was truly wreaking havoc, believe it or not, a veteran retread in Tom Johnson. I think we had picked him up for pennies from the Saints or something like that late in his career, and he had 5 or 6 sacks in 2017. For that great Vikings defense led by Zimmer. I'm not opposed to making those changes. The argument that the head coach is getting as much as he did out of the QB is not an argument that we have to bring him back. Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because when you look at the Lions and how they progressed and were able to continue to be as lethal as they were offensively and at least making things work defensively despite all those injuries, I would actually say that the Lions are in a better spot right now. I mean, and they have the chance to get some of these guys back. Already got Anzalone back. I don't know if Hutchinson's really even a possibility by the time if they were to make it to the Superdome for the Super Bowl. But those Lions are battle-tested and ready to win games in the postseason.
Yeah.
The Rams, how much better are the Rams right now than they were Week 8? Can you say the same about our favorite team? I don't think you can. And so... I don't look at the great season that Sam had and that just being, an end-all, be-all. You got to bring them back and that the ceiling, the sky's the limit. I think maybe we did indeed see that ceiling for Mr. Darnold. Back to the phone lines, Tom in Scottsdale. Tom, welcome to Vikings Fanline.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking the call. Can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Awesome. Hey, we just left the game. It was electric there. We had a good time. Obviously, terrible results. But I had 2 questions, if I could. Second quarter, when we got after quarterback and got the what appeared to be a fumble return for a touchdown. They called it back. From our vantage point, it looked like that was a terrible call. But I don't know what you guys saw on the TV. And then the second question, if I could, was just what's this do for KOC and Coach of the Year talks? What do you guys think? I'll hang up and listen. Thanks.
Yeah, I appreciate you calling in. The first, I'll answer the second question first. I believe they vote on Coach of the Year after the regular season, but before the playoffs.
Correct.
So this won't do anything to that conversation. If we would have been talking a week ago, it would have been the talker. What did that awful game in Detroit do to the Coach of the Year conversation?
Killed it
for Kevin O'Connell, and it may have. It might it might be Dan Campbell, as who was the favorite, by the way, for the majority of the season until that flipped with a few weeks to go in the regular season campaign. Ron, that play, it's the letter of the law that Stafford did indeed propel the ball forward. Mm-hmm. It did indeed hit near Puka Nakua's feet.
Yep.
It's an incomplete pass. Number 17 was in the area.
Yep.
I mean, we're just getting bitten in the backside by this thing. Are you kidding me? Last week, Goff just chucks it at an O-lineman, and some obscure tight end apparently emerges from the mist, and he's in the area, and that should have been a safety in that spot.
No, that one I watched back, the running back is right there. That's who they were saying. They said the wrong number.
Well, okay.
I did look. The running back is standing right next. I don't know what he was. I think he was blocking.
Goff was not throwing it at him either. No. Just as when he's staring at the ground, Matt Stafford had no idea.
The ball actually comes out of his hand, too. It's not like a full flip.
Yeah.
He lost the ball. But, that
my point is they need to change the rule.
It's so dumb because they decide when and when not you're in the grasp. You know what I mean? Like they sometimes you're in the grass because the quarterback loses the ball. Oh no, it's, forward momentum stopped. Nope, it's not stopped, and he threw the ball away. It's like, come on now, like because the thing is, if Jonathan Grenard were to grab, like I know one arm was being held by, I think Harrison Phillips had one of his arms.
Sure.
If Jonathan Grenard picks him up and suplexes him, then they're gonna blow you can't do that. Well, you're allowing him to be in the grasp. I'm trying to just hold him up and not slam him, and you're gonna allow him to flip the ball still? Like, come on. Like they make the game up as they go. Even the face mask by Blake Cashman or I think it was Blake Cashman, and no flag was thrown. But New York was like, hey, I think you guys missed a flag.
Then they just talked about it.
Yeah, and they said it was a flag.
Stafford pointed, and we're like, oh,
correct.
I guess I did see that.
But why not, when Sam Darnold's face mask, did New York not step in and say, hey, his face mask grabbed an end zone? Just say you saw something.
He was nearly beheaded.
They make it up and even the announcers kept saying it. They're like, I didn't see a flag. Like, how do they do this? And it's like BS. So, again, they make it up as they go. I see people tweeting saying that, they wanted them to win because of the LA fires and all this other stuff, whatever. I just think the refs are bad and they make bad calls, and the Vikings suffered today from it. Because we've benefited from some bad calls too. But even the fourth down, somebody just tweeted that video, the fourth down where I think it was 90 or 91 for the Vikings jumps. I think it was 90 for jumps off sides. Bullard, I think, did it. I think it was who it was. I can't remember.
And you saw Puka flinched?
Puka moved forward. Yeah, he took 2 steps forward and and then Bullard moved because of him. It's false start. You can't move forward towards the line of scrimmage when the quarterback is hut.
I hope Chad Abbott's listening.
Like, you can't move forward.
We argued about this for 20 minutes back there, and he was telling me, look,
you can't move forward.
To me, Abbott.
You can move forward and reset. So if you move forward, you're allowed to move forward to set. But once the quarterback says hut, you can't move forward because now that's a trick. Like, if he's like blue 80, whatever, can, he can move forward.
Yeah, he can flinch, he can move, he
but
can
he's
do whatever
gotta
the heck he
set.
wants. Yeah.
But once he says hut, and he moves forward and then Bullard jumps, it's a false start because he's engaging him by being under center, yelling, and a guy moves at the same time. You can't do that. He can move lateral, so he can say hut, and the guy can hurry up and do the quick motion. We've seen the Rams do that and the 49ers do that. You can't go forward on that play. And that's why I think Nakua even kind of you can see he took one step and he's like, oh, shoot. Yeah. And then he froze and the refs gave it to the Vikings. It's come on.
And, that ultimately led to, I believe, the first touchdown of the night, was it not?
Yep.
Yes. Well, that is, one of many. Here's what I'll say, though, is they had 10 penalties for 95 yards.
Yeah, and 9 sacks.
So it's one of those things. It's one of those things. I'm having a hard. I can't get there. I can't be blaming the refs. I need that rule to change.
Yeah.
I need that rule to change from an intentional grounding standpoint. I want to live in a universe where Goff just chucking it at an offensive lineman while standing in the end zone. That's a problem for me. And we don't get to just use Jahmyr Gibbs was within 5 yards, so apparently he's in the area. And Matt Stafford, ultimately a tremendous play. He stayed up long enough to do it. Just staring at the ground and just lightly tossing it. That's kind of a fumble.
It is a fumble.
But he fumbled it forward. So we'll give him credit for that. He didn't know Puka Nacua was there. But it's not intentional grounding because Puka Nacua was there. And the Vikings not benefiting from either.
What about
moments.
the 2 for 10 on third down even? If your defense holds somebody 2 for 10 on third down, you should win that game.
Yeah, that's
the Blake Cashman fumble.
Oh yeah.
The Blake Cashman pick. He picked it up and scooped and scored. Should be a touchdown. Should be 10-10.
It's completely written off.
So yeah,
because Puka Nacua
was in the area.
It's
just bad.
Yeah, it is indeed. So I can't help you out on that rule because by the letter of the law, that was how it should be called, and it's a brutal reversal in a moment that the Vikings needed, and that's all part of the story here. 9 sacks, setting or tying an NFL playoff record, and the defense who had been
the kicker was 100% though.
Kicker was good.
Kicker was 100%.
Everyone was worried about the Alabama rookie. That was about the only and they won the coin toss. So there are, if you're looking for silver linings, they won the coin toss and the kicker looked okay.
100%.
18 points in the last 2 games. 18 points. I got this Maury Amsterdam guy. Are we a golfer who makes the cut but can never make the final group? Yeah, it feels like that. It does feel like that. It's Vikings Fan Line. A couple segments to go. We're going to pause and continue the conversation. Vikings, their season is over. Ron Johnson is here. I'm Nordo. So is Max Fuller. And you're listening to The Fan and the Fan Radio Network.
Hey, Vikings fans, as the official whiskey of the NFL, it's not a kickoff without the generous spirit of Crown Royal. And that's why we've built the Crown Royal Rig, an absurdly awesome 18-wheeler delivering the generous spirit to stadiums and tailgates across the country. Follow the Royal Rig on its journey from city to city, bringing together local cuisine, NFL legends, and the opportunity to pack a purple bag for charity and win tickets to Super Bowl 59. Visit crownroyal.com for rules and more. Please drink responsibly.
Where can you kick off the new year with big savings on gig speed? Only with Xfinity. Now through January 16th, get gig internet for $25 a month for 1 year when you add an unlimited mobile line. Plus hurry and get a free 5G phone with trade-in. Go to Xfinity.com/gig savings to learn more. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, tax, and fees extra. $40 internet discount applied to mobile bill. After promo, regular rates apply. Xfinity internet required. Reduced speeds after 30 gigabits of data usage per line. Data thresholds and actual speeds vary.
This football season, Sukup has partnered with KFAN to bring us Pressure Points and Pete Bursich every single week.
That's right, and Sukup is proud to be your trusted partner in farming for more than 60 years.
Sukup is the world's largest family-owned manufacturer of grain storage, drying, and handling equipment, offering top-notch products that empower farmers to thrive.
Visit Sukup.com to find your dealer today. That's SUKUP.com. Store now. Profit later.
Hey, it's Guardsy. Time is of the essence with COVID-19. Prescription oral treatment must be taken within the first 5 days of symptoms. If you have a high risk factor, ask your doctor if treatment is right for you. Learn more at treatcovid19.com, sponsored by Pfizer.
Selling your house in the winter is easy with a guaranteed cash offer from Chris Lindahl Real Estate. There are no showings, no repairs, and you can leave everything you don't want behind. Find out what your offer would be today by calling 763-401-SOLD or visit chrislindahl.com and start packing.
Welcome to the Chevy Lightning Round. Guess the clues to win. First team, you're up.
Powerful, commanding, unstoppable.
Silverado.
Adventurous, fun, techie.
Trailblazer.
Stylish, nimble.
Tracks.
Innovative, electric.
Blazer EV.
Lightning Round champions. You've guessed all the right Chevy clues. Silverado, Trailblazer, Trax, and Blazer EV.
Wherever the year takes you, explore it together in the Chevy of your choice. Current Chevy owners and lessees get $1,000 cash allowance on select popular Chevy models when you purchase. Visit ChevyDealOnline.com. Offer available on 2024 and 2025 Chevy Blazer, Silverado 1500, Colorado, and Trailblazer models. Must show proof of a current lease of a 2020 model year or newer Chevrolet vehicle, or be a current owner of a 2011 model year or newer Chevy vehicle for at least 30 days prior to the new vehicle sale. Not available with special financing, lease, and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 3/3/25.
Big points means even bigger savings with Hy-Vee in the Minnesota Vikings. Shop your local Minnesota Hy-Vee store following game day and earn a fuel discount equaling the Vikings score. If the Vikings score 21 points, you save 21 cents a gallon with a $21 purchase. Don't forget to pick up your favorite Pepsi products at Hy-Vee. Pepsi is the official soft drink of the Minnesota Vikings. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
For Minnesota sports, follow the leader. Minnesota sports leader is FM 100.3, KFXN Minneapolis, St. Paul. The Fan.
First, a talkback.
Hey guys, it's Marshall in Minnetonka.
Hey.
Terrible performance all the way around offensively tonight. One thing I haven't heard mentioned much yet, that decision by KOC to go for it on 4th down at midfield right before halftime. You're down 14. Just punt the ball away, go to the locker room, and live to fight another day. You don't get that, as they didn't. Rams go in for the touchdown, up 21, game pretty much over. Horrible decision right there.
Thank you, Marshall. And then I did get this text. If the Vikings didn't have a play to make a few yards on 4th down, they should have punted instead of giving the Rams an easy touchdown right before the half ended. I kind of like how these talkers have kind of manifested themselves in waves here. You remember that play just before half? The fourth down, right at midfield. And yes, you are still in a spot where you're down 2 touchdowns. Yes, you want to, find the right time to pull the strings and get desperate and find your way to points before the break. And then you can come out of the halftime. You get to start the third. Bookend the break with 14 points and suddenly the game's tied, right?
Yep.
Well, it's 4th and 2, I believe. As a matter of fact, let me just make sure that it was indeed 4th and 2. Yes, it was 4th and 2 at midfield.
Yep.
I mean, you could potentially run the ball there, maybe a quick slant, throw it to JJ with a blocker and just try to be the faster man to the pylon.
Yep.
There's a lot of things you could do.
Jet sweep to Brandon Powell, anything.
Yeah, no big deal. Just like what? Another 5.
Did Brandon Powell even play on offense today?
Another deep drop. I have no idea.
I don't think he did.
No, I did. Well, if we need Brandon Powell to win playoff game, we're in trouble, Ron. Okay.
Hey.
I mean, I don't know what
Jalen Naylor on a sweep. Like, you got all this speed.
You got to
run the ball though. 2 yards.
You got a ton of options.
Run the ball. Put CJ Ham in the game at fullback. Run the damn ball. Sandra Bullock said it best. Stop with the trick plays, Bert. Just run the damn ball. Just run the ball.
Yeah. No, and Marshall and the texters are all accurate at that stage. I mean, you end up giving them the ball, their first down at our 39-yard line, and they find their way into the end zone. I believe that was Allen, the tight end.
Even the sack, though. Why take the sack there?
Well, that's on the QB.
Right. That's what I mean.
Or is it on the coach that's calling the play?
What, 4th and 2, why are we being tricky? Go get 5 yards. Go get 3. Have your tight end run 3 yards, turn around, throw it to him.
There has to be something in the toolkit where it's like my QB is seeing stars right now.
Yeah.
He just doesn't have it. And he's back there river dancing, and it ain't working.
Right.
So
get him out the pocket.
So I have to take control. I got to put, this team in a better spot, and maybe that includes running the ball. Maybe that includes moving the pocket, includes something that just gives the kid a chance if he's not going to give himself a chance.
You just run 3 different levels. So you have your deep over, your shallow, your short, and you run sprint right. So he sprints out to the right, kind of like Matthew Stafford did. Matthew ran to his left, and guess who was wide open? The running back that they all forgot about that he faked the handoff to, and he threw the touchdown to Kyron Williams. There's a lot of things you can do to make the defensive line. Get those big dudes chasing you in a different direction. Don't let them just tee off and come after you. Get them out the pocket. It's the same thing over and over again. And at some point, Sean McVay probably sat back and felt like, you know what? This is my student. I know exactly what he's going to do here.
Let me rattle.
It just seemed like he had it.
Let me rattle through a few talkbacks, and then we'll pause.
I think there's an argument to be made that in the absolute outhouse fire that has been the Vikings playoff history over the past 30 years, this is the most disappointing of them all. In a span of 8 days, we went from being a Tony pick to win the number 1 seed in the entire conference to getting our asses stomped on a neutral field by a team that wasn't even in the playoff picture 3 weeks ago. There's no silver lining to be found.
All right. Well, I mean, the coin toss. They won the coin toss. That is the way that talkback summed it up brilliantly. Again, the spectrum of outcomes from winning and losing that Lions game to now what we're looking at, a 14-win wildcard team that did indeed get stomped on a neutral field with a home feel from the fan base. Felt like it was 60-40 Vikings fans based on the crowd, and they did not come through. Let me see here. No, we played. Let me see here. How about, let's do this. Let's try to take, let's go to Reese in Maple Grove. Reese, welcome to Vikings Fanline.
What's up, guys? How we doing?
Hey, good evening.
It's a brutal night. I'm watching you guys on YouTube here. I'm seeing a lot of people in the chat, calling for KOC's head and stuff like that. I'm a big KOC defender. To my core, I do think, at past 2 weeks, he was flat out outcoached, without a doubt. I think at a certain point in the quarter, in the fourth quarter, I think he kind of let the guys just give up. I didn't love the play calling. The punt earlier in the fourth quarter just felt like kind of waving the white flag. But at the same time, I don't know how you watch this game tonight and think that, we should keep Darnold or we should get rid of Kevin. This tonight and last week, this was a completely different team than we saw all throughout the season. And I don't know if it's the lights being too bright or what, but I just feel like there's a lot of holes on this team still, So I'm curious where you guys think our first priority should be, going into this offseason.
Yeah, I appreciate that call. I don't have the YouTube chat. I'm nowhere near. I think they will. I also think they should renew Kevin O'Connell's contract. But the reason that I keep going back to it is I am looking at some things now entering year 4 that I hope that the head coach can learn from a play calling standpoint, and we need an evolution there. So I don't know if that's handing the play calling duties off or just simply kind of restructuring, and maybe depending upon what J.J. McCarthy is going to look like, as I believe, again, I think the Sam Darnold future conversation was written over the last 2 games. I'd like the head coach to evolve and maybe find a safety net or some sort, and the adjustment side of things. I'd like to see that evolution this offseason. But I love Kevin O'Connell. I think he's a fantastic coach, and to that end, my validation of that is that I do believe that he is an overperforming coach. I keep going back to that. I need the coach to improve. You know what I mean, Ron? I need him to learn. I need things to get better in some areas. There's no doubt about that. Clock management, some adjustments, various things that we've talked about. But in the end, I still believe that Kevin O'Connell got more out of this roster than I believe just about anybody else would have. Mm-hmm. And I think that is the culture, the way that you hear the raw emotion from a Harrison Smith. You hear the way that C.J. Ham talks about the organization. I believe that starts with the head coach. But to that end, that this roster needs to get better. So first thing that's going to be addressed in the offseason, I think that the interior of the offensive line. Actually, let's go backwards a bit, Ron. You need to start making plans now of how you're going to keep Bynum in the mix. You're going to want to keep. What do you think of Byron Murphy? I think you got to keep him in the mix. Got to keep Myron. Still way too early for those sorts of player by player, keep him or let him go. But in the same sense, I think that and I'm sure Kwesi's already gone down this road on his own and privately, but he's got to have that list of the 24. I think it's a total of 24. We've got a bunch of free agents on this freaking team. That's got to be figured out. That's first. And then how on earth are we going to get the interior of our lines better? Both offensively, the A topic. B topic would be the interior of the defensive line. And that's kind of the route that I would go with that. I dig KOC. I love him. But he's got to learn from this too, and he has to own this thing. And it was, he has to own these last 2 weeks. It was just ugly, turning into a pumpkin, Sam Darnold. And at the worst possible time for a 14-win team, no doubt about it. We're going to pause, come back, final segment, local Chevy dealers, drive of the game. I wonder what I'll pick. These ones are tough when your team only scores 9 points, but I have the break to figure it out, and I will. Final segment of Fanline around the corner. Ron Johnson's here. I'm Nordo. It's the Fan.
Hey, it's Guardsy. Time is of the essence with COVID-19. Prescription oral treatment must be taken within the first 5 days of symptoms. If you have a high risk factor, ask your doctor if treatment is right for you. Learn more at treatcovid19.com, sponsored by Pfizer.
What's poppin'? Justin Jefferson here.
Football is a lot of explosions, a lot of energy and attitude.
It's a whole different vibe. With these open earbuds, it's like you're in the moment, but also you can hear everything around you. You can be involved.
To have good sound and to be so light on your ear means a lot to me. Putting that music into my ears.
You feel good enough to go out there and play.
You turn on that switch, no one can stop you.
For more, check out Bose.com.
TimberTech and TimberTech.com not only are the best in the business, but the decks they develop and the decks they build are the highest of quality. In fact, you will endure a lifetime of happiness with that deck with TimberTech. So ask for TimberTech when putting together your next project, and that also can include porches. TimberTech.com is where you find the free samples. Once again, start at TimberTech.com.
Hi, I'm Rena Sargentopoulos with Care 11. Do you want to stay updated on the local stories that matter to you? Download Care 11 Plus and get breaking news, weather updates, and newscasts on demand. It's all free on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. Start streaming today.
I'm Chris Rose with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. Josh Allen threw 2 scores as the Bills beat the Broncos 31-7. Bo Nix and the Broncos raced out to a 7-zip lead, but Buffalo scored the final 31 points. The Bills host the Ravens in the divisional round, while the Chiefs will host the Texans. In the NFC, the Eagles held off the Packers 22-10. Jalen Hurts tossed 2 scores, and the Eagles defense picked off Jordan Love 3 times. Also, the Commanders topped the Bucs 23-20 on a game-winning field goal by Zane Gonzalez as time expired. Jaden Daniels threw for 268 yards and 2 touchdowns. Baker Mayfield threw for 2 scores of his own, but had a key fumble in the fourth quarter. In the divisional round, the Lions play host to the Commanders. Eagles will host the winner of the Rams and Vikings. In other news, the Patriots are hiring their former 3-time Super Bowl winning linebacker Mike Vrabel as their next head coach. NFL Network insiders Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero reporting. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
Welcome to Staples.
I am so pumped. My business is going to kill it this year.
Awesome. How can I help?
First, a new computer.
With Staples Home and Office Hot Deals, you save big on tech.
And new posters.
Save on custom printing, too.
And,
a new chair?
A chair? Who has time to sit?
Maybe all your new clients?
Now you're talking.
With Staples Home and Office Hot Deals, you'll find huge savings on custom prints, storage, chairs, and tech. And now save up to $175 off your print order. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends 2/1.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at tryethos.com. That's tryethos.
Yeah, you. Tired of the same old nicotine routine? Try Lou Nix nicotine pouches. They've got flavors like Arctic Mint, Gum Mint, and Wintergreen. Anywhere, anytime. Lou Nix are smoke-free and discreet. These pouches come in 3, 7, 14, or 28 milligrams, don't you know? Try Lou Nix today and discover a new way to enjoy nicotine. Minnesota local since 2013. Nix is available at your local retailer or online at theloonmn.com. Lou Nix, anywhere, anytime. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
This is The Fan.
Final segment of Fanline brings us to our local Chevy dealers' drive of the game. And really, it was the only moment of the last 2 games in which you just didn't find yourself, just having to dunk your head into a tank of ice-cold water to figure out the ineptitude and the incompetence of our favorite football team's offense. The local Chevy dealers drive of the game took place with midway through the third quarter. 6-play, 62-yard drive, 2 minutes off the clock. Here's T.J. Hawkinson. Hey, T.J. Hawkinson scored a touchdown.
Here we go. First down from the Rams 26. Darnold shotgun again. 4-man rush. Straight drop. He's going to throw over the middle. Caught T.J. Hawkinson at the 20. Heads to the left to the 10 to the 5. Touchdown Vikings!
Hey!
T.J.
Hawkinson.
First 2024 touchdown takes place in 2025.
Had to wait a while for that, didn't we? That's T.J. Hawkinson's first TD since returning from injury. And that's your local Chevy dealer's drive of the game. You know what that did is it made it, I believe the score was 27-9. Oh, yeah, that's the final score. And bad two-point conversion play. Didn't work. It failed. You forced the punt, Ron. And then with 2 minutes left to go in the third quarter, I know you're down 18. I know it's still, 3-score game, et cetera. Aaron Jones for 2 yards. Short pass to Addison for 7. Darnold scrambles for 2. Jones again, no gain. Did we really try to start establishing the run at the end of the third quarter?
Yeah.
Down 18?
They did.
Did we really do that?
They did.
Big thanks to our local Chevy dealers, by the way, for sponsoring the drive of the game throughout the 2024 season. The local Chevy dealers certainly on the right side of things 14 times.
Yep.
But the last couple of games in particular, I've had to get creative. The Vikings have scored 1 touchdown in like the last 9 quarters, something like that. I think you got to go back to the third quarter at Lambeau.
Yeah. Sam Darnold's thrown 35 touchdowns all season. The last 2 games, 1. So it's just not good. But I do want to bring up, you talked about the two-point conversion play.
Yeah.
Flat route. That's what he should have thrown against the Lions, which leads me to believe.
There we go.
Jordan Addison did not have a flat route called because he ran 2 steps to the flat and then immediately hit the pylon. Justin Jefferson stayed flat for about 5 steps, and then Darnold got the ball out. Unfortunately, the Rams played it the way like they were hoping the Lions would have played it, which is underneath. So I think Kevin O'Connell got out like it was a chess move. If they go over the top, you're going to be wide open. They didn't. They went underneath and they chased. And they said, look, just chase, make the tackle. The Lions went opposite. Hey, we know they like to run flat and then to the pylon. We saw Jordan Addison just do the little loop-de-loo last weekend, so let's be aware of that. Like it's just like you're calling the plays at the wrong moment. And I'm not saying they're bad plays because they do work, but if the defensive coordinator makes a better defensive call, you lost.
Yeah.
And I don't know why so many people get sensitive about that. It is what it is. You lost. Like boxers. Mike Tyson probably fought a lot of dudes that could beat anybody else's butt on the street. But at that moment, you ducked and he uppercutted. You made the wrong move. And that's what happened. Like KOC tried to go with the knockout. Rams dodged it and swung and knocked him out.
Yeah.
But I know those plays can be called because I just saw one, but they still stopped them.
That's Ron Johnson. Hey, you know what? We're putting a wrap on this thing. Fun year, right?
Yeah.
Awful ending.
Terrible ending.
But a fun year.
But it is what it is. In about 2 short months, we'll be right back to talking about the draft.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, in like 2 weeks, we'll start talking about. That's kind of how it works around here. That is Ron Johnson at 3 Ron Johnson via social media, the number 3, and then Ron Johnson.
Yep, on Instagram.
I'm Nordo Max Fuller as well. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening to us during Fanline throughout the year. It was an absolute blast of a regular season that ends with, again, just a screeching halt of a disaster down in Arizona. And all of this podcastable, interviews, all of it available, free iHeartRadio app, various podcast channels, starting with the Power Trip Morning Show, 5:30. They'll be live. They'll be covering more of this. Ad montage at 9, PA in the mix for the first hour. You've been listening to Vikings Fanline. 27-9, the final Vikings season is over. It's been KFAN and the Fan Radio Network.